The story of Mahatma Gandhi, the father of non-violence and India's independence. Mahatma Gandhi's life is a story of unwavering commitment to justice, truth, and the power of non-violent resistance. His philosophy of satyagraha, the force of truth and love, became the foundation for movements of civil rights and freedom across the world. In the face of oppression and colonial rule, he led India to its independence and changed the course of history forever. Early life and the seed of resistance. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, later known as Mahatma Gandhi, meaning great soul, was born in 1869 in Porbandar, India. He grew up in a devout Hindu family and was influenced by the values of simplicity, honesty, and devotion to non-violence. Gandhi went to England to study law at the age of 18 and later traveled to South Africa to practice law. It was in South Africa that Gandhi first encountered the deep racial discrimination and prejudice against Indians. An incident on a train would forever change the course of his life. Despite having a first-class ticket, Gandhi was thrown off the train for refusing to move from the whites-only compartment. This blatant injustice sparked a fire within him. He realized that he could no longer stay silent in the face of racial discrimination. It was in South Africa that Gandhi developed his philosophy of non-violent resistance, which he called satyagraha, or truth force. Returning to India, the fight for freedom. After 21 years in South Africa, where he led campaigns against the discriminatory laws targeting Indian immigrants, Gandhi returned to India in 1915. India was under British colonial rule, and the people were suffering under oppressive laws and heavy taxes. Gandhi quickly became a prominent leader in the Indian independence movement. However, unlike other movements, Gandhi insisted that the fight for freedom should be conducted without violence. His most famous acts of civil disobedience were the non-cooperation movement and the Salt March. The non-cooperation movement, launched in 1920, encouraged Indians to boycott British goods, institutions, and taxes. Gandhi led by example, giving up Western-style clothing and encouraging people to spin their own cotton, a symbol of self-reliance. The Salt March of 1930 was perhaps his most iconic protest. The British had imposed a heavy tax on salt, a staple for the Indian people. Gandhi decided to challenge this law by leading a 240-mile march to the sea, where he symbolically made salt from seawater. This act of defiance sparked nationwide protests and highlighted the absurdity of British control over such basic resources. The Salt March gained international attention, and Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance became a global phenomenon. The philosophy of non-violence. What made Gandhi's approach revolutionary was his absolute commitment to ahimsa, meaning non-violence. He believed that violence only begets more violence and that true change could only come from peaceful protest and moral persuasion. Gandhi's insistence on non-violence was not a sign of weakness, but rather a powerful demonstration of strength and self-control. He often said, "Non-violence is the greatest force at the disposal of mankind. It is mightier than the mightiest weapon of destruction devised by the ingenuity of man." Gandhi's non-violent methods, which included strikes, boycotts, and peaceful protests, posed a direct challenge to the British colonial rule. The British, who had the world's most powerful military, struggled to combat a movement that refused to fight back with violence. Gandhi's ability to mobilize millions of Indians without resorting to armed rebellion was one of his greatest achievements. The struggles and imprisonment. Gandhi's non-violent protests were met with brutal repression by the British authorities. He was arrested multiple times and spent several years in prison. Despite these setbacks, Gandhi's resolve never wavered. He knew that real change would not come overnight, and he encouraged his followers to remain patient and steadfast in their commitment to non-violence. In 1942, during World War II, Gandhi launched the Quit India movement, calling for the British to leave India immediately. The movement resulted in mass arrests, and Gandhi was imprisoned once again. Yet his message continued to spread across the country, inspiring millions to demand freedom. India's independence. After decades of struggle, Gandhi's dream of an independent India was finally realized. On August 15, 1947, India gained independence from British rule. However, the joy of freedom was marred by the partition of India and Pakistan, which led to widespread violence between Hindus and Muslims. Gandhi was heartbroken by the bloodshed and devoted the last years of his life to promoting peace and unity between the two religious communities. In 1948, at the age of 78, Gandhi was assassinated by a Hindu nationalist who disagreed with his efforts to reconcile Hindus and Muslims. His death shocked the world, but his legacy of peace and non-violence continues to inspire generations. The global impact of Gandhi's legacy. Gandhi's influence extended far beyond India's borders. His philosophy of non-violent resistance inspired many of the world's most important social justice movements. Martin Luther King Jr., the leader of the American Civil Rights Movement, credited Gandhi's teachings with shaping his approach to the fight against racial segregation in the United States. King believed, as Gandhi did, that moral force and peaceful protest were the keys to achieving justice and equality. Nelson Mandela, the leader of the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, also drew inspiration from Gandhi's principles. Mandela saw Gandhi's strategies as a blueprint for his own fight against the racial oppression of apartheid, and he too embraced non-violence as a powerful tool for change. Even today, Gandhi's teachings resonate with activists and leaders around the world. His emphasis on peace, tolerance, and human dignity continues to be a guiding light for those who seek justice in a world still fraught with violence and division. Lessons from Gandhi's life. Mahatma Gandhi's life offers many timeless lessons. 1. Non-violence as a powerful force. Gandhi showed the world that non-violence is not a passive response to oppression, but a courageous and active form of resistance. His life proves that even in the face of overwhelming power, peaceful protest can create lasting change. 2. Persistence in the face of adversity. Gandhi faced imprisonment, persecution, and even threats to his life, but he never gave up on his vision of a free India. His unwavering dedication teaches us the value of perseverance, even when the odds seem insurmountable. 3. Unity and reconciliation. Despite deep divisions within his country, Gandhi always sought unity and peace. His efforts to bring Hindus and Muslims together remind us of the importance of reconciliation and the dangers of hatred and division. 4. Moral leadership. Gandhi's leadership was not based on power or authority, but on moral conviction. He led by example, living a simple life and adhering to his principles of truth and non-violence. His life reminds us that true leadership is about serving others and staying true to one's values. A global inspiration. Mahatma Gandhi's story is one of the most powerful and enduring examples of the triumph of the human spirit. His commitment to truth, justice, and non-violence transformed not only India, but the world. He once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And through his life, Gandhi showed us that even one person armed with nothing but love, truth, and non-violence can indeed change the world. Gandhi's legacy continues to inspire millions of people across the globe. His story serves as a reminder that no matter how great the challenges we face, peaceful resistance and moral courage can overcome even the greatest forces of oppression. This story of Mahatma Gandhi is a reminder that true strength comes from within and that the most powerful movements are those that are driven by love, justice, and non-violence. His life continues to inspire movements for peace, justice, and human dignity around the world.